What's up, everybody? Christian Nix here. Welcome back. You know, you get a ton of questions if you do a online presentation like this. A lot of people ask all kinds of questions, but the one question that I'm asked most frequently, of course, is how do I feel better right now? Right? Everybody wants to know, like, how can I feel better immediately? Now, it's a tricky question because there are things that you can do. There are pills you can take, as most of you have probably discovered, to your chagrin, if you're watching this. And you can get relief very quickly by doing the wrong thing. Well, we don't want to get relief by making ourselves worse in the long run. Like, you take something like reflux, for example, right? And I have a program teaching people how to beat reflux. A lot of the very same principles apply. But if you want to take an acid blocker, of course some people get some benefit from that. Of course they do, right? That's why they're so popular. But what are you doing, right? Well, you're making your organs work harder because you actually need your stomach acid. So you can't just take a pill to block your stomach acid, even if it makes you feel better. That's not a good solution. It's not a good way to feel better quickly. So are there good ways to make yourself feel better quickly that also don't cause longer-term damage, longer-term harm, more work over the long term? Yes, of course there are. And that's what I'll tell you about in this video. The important, and again, like this for sure is the number one question, even though people don't word the question that way, of course, because what are you trying to figure out? Like, oh, can I eat this food? Should I do this? But basically, if you're reaching out to me, you have IBS, you're suffering on a day-to-day basis, and I know how bad it is. I do. I've been there. I understand exactly how tricky. It's like the mythological Hydra, right? You figure out one thing and it seems to make your condition a little better, and then 7 more things pop up, right? And that's digestive disease in a nutshell for you. So that's why what you're learning in all of this, everything that I do is to teach you a different method, a different system, a different logic. And it's a logic that when you hear it, once you hear it and you internalize it, it's not that difficult. I'm teaching you how all your different organs interact together. What symptoms are the result of which organs and which organ imbalances. It's pretty basic. I'm giving you a very simplified version of a very difficult technical explanation, but anybody can get it. It's kind of, I teach this at about a 7th grade level, so it's not that hard, right? If you're coming upon this material for the first time, this is what we're doing here. And in a sense, you're not trying to cure your IBS. We're just trying to get your pivot to work better. When your pivot works better, and if you don't know what the pivot is, basically the balance between 2 key organs, your liver and your stomach on one side, and 2 key other organs, your spleen and your intestines, when you balance the pivot so that it actually works together in harmony, it's like getting the gears of a machine to mesh and so that everything turns the proper way. When your digestive system's breaking down, all of these organs go to hell. Like everything goes to hell at once, right? One thing leads to 10 other things, and they all self-reinforce each other. That's why digestive illness is so terrible. So when people write me and they go, oh, you know, how can I feel better today, right now, in the next 24 hours? Which, again, it is for some people unrealistic simply because you've been sick for so long that you're going to be tempted to do the wrong thing. But even people who have been sick for a long time, that question still has there's a lot of power behind the answer that I can give you, because there's 3 simple things that you can do that make if you just change this part about your habits and your thinking about your condition, right away you start to feel better. Even the person who's been sick for possibly many, many years, right? And most people with digestive illness, whether you realize it or not, you've been sick for a number of years. You did not get sick with this last month, or even when your symptoms appeared. You did not get sick with this 6 months ago. It's been coming for, in some cases, decades. Most people have been doing things wrong, really, right, for so long that the damage has been building up. And once your organs are that out of balance and symptoms appear, now you have a real disaster to deal with. It's like an environmental disaster inside your body. Okay, that's what IBS is. So, number 1, right, there's a form of food that you can eat. Okay, it's a way of preparing foods. Now, it's a deep topic, right? Whole books have been written about this. But I give you the basics inside phase 1. I'm telling you, like, here's the best way to get yourself back together. And I'll give you a hint, okay? Everything that you put in your body, if it's going to be useful to you, it has to be turned into, it has to be or be turned into 100-degree soup. Because your body can only absorb liquids. Like if you eat a steak, like a big chunk of meat doesn't go through your your intestinal lining and get into your bloodstream. That's not how it works. It has to be broken down into very, very, very tiny molecule, right? Almost like tiny food particles, right? And then your body leaches the essentially, right, pulls the nutrition out of it into your bloodstream, okay? So the hardest food that you could possibly eat still has to be turned into a liquid, and it needs to be a warm liquid. Your body is hot, right? While we're alive, we're about 100 degrees. So that's not insignificant, okay? So there's something that you need to understand about how you're preparing foods. If you're preparing foods in the wrong manner and you're eating foods in a form that your body cannot identify and easily transform into something usable, well, then you got big problems, right? Because your organs are tired already. Okay, so that should make logical sense to you. We want to take the pressure off your organs so that your body recovers on its own. That's the basis of self-healing. Your body will figure out how to do a lot of the hard work. You don't need to, right? You don't need to have a heavy hand. You just need to create the right conditions, right? We're creating a setting in which your body goes, there we go. Now I know exactly how I can recover, because your body's already programmed to do this. Your organs know how to work together. You don't have to force them to work together. You just need to create the right environment for them to work together. And eating foods in one specific form helps your body to recover. Okay? Number two, the order in which you eat things. The order in which you eat things matters way more than people realize, right? You go to a restaurant and you sit down in the restaurant, you sit down at the table and the server brings you two things right away, right? Or they bring you one thing and then right when you order, you get another thing right away. The first thing they bring you is like ice water or something like this, all right? And then if you have that, what happens to your digestion, right? For most people, they don't think anything of this, right? Should you be drinking a lot of fluids before you eat a meal if you have IBS? Maybe. Depends what kind. I teach you exactly what kind of fluid actually helps your digestion and which kinds of fluids make your belly much, much worse. You're guaranteed to be making yourself worse if you're drinking certain things, and you can make your belly, you can make your pivot, you can make your important organs much, much stronger if you drink something else. Okay? I show you this and teach you about this in the protocol as well. What order should you eat your different... Now, I don't like categorizing foods like this because it's a little simplistic, but we can talk about proteins, carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, right? These three broad categories, fats, right? These three broad or four broad categorizations of food, it's valuable to understand. If you eat certain things first, you're going to make yourself worse. If you eat other things first, you're going to get stronger. And this is very important to understand because your body's actually made to digest certain things at the beginning of the meal and not later in the meal. Okay, so that's another very important point to understand. And I teach you how to do this and also how to identify, like, oh, my problem is coming from, and this leads me to my third point for this video. It's what I call, I try to come up with a clever acronym for it, and I can't, but it's symptom-specific supplementation. You don't want to be taking a ton of supplements. Most people, I get emails every single week, somebody's asking like, oh, I'm taking, and they list 17 different supplements. It's like, you're taking that every day? I think we've discovered why you're sick. Okay, you cannot be taking a ton of supplements and expect to get well. All of these things have some kind of effect, especially on your body's your body's effort level. If you're taking supplements, your body has to deal with that, right? That means your liver has to work harder and harder and harder, right? Well, what's that doing to your other organs? For most people, it's going to crash the entire system if you keep taking a ton of supplements. Second of all, do you even know what those supplements do? Do you really understand? Or are you trying to think according to some kind of molecular biology explanation about, oh, I take quercetin, right, for inflammation? It's like, well, why? Are you sure that's what you should be doing, right? It's not like there's good medical understanding of, oh, when I talk about symptom specific, I mean, okay, you have bloating and gas. Okay, well, there's a very, very dirt cheap, simple remedy. And if you know how to take it the right way, at the right time, in the right order, along with the rest of your foods in your meal, you can get rid of bloating and gas in one day, right? Or you can radically reduce it, and then, right, everything with a pivot, like phase 1, and then the master class training material. Phase 1 is always, let's stop causing damage. Everything on the side of phase 1 thinking is, don't do these things. If you stop doing certain things, your body will really thank you, and the recovery process can begin. And then we need to advanced training, masterclass level, we need to know how to proactively go after your exact imbalances, your specific symptoms, right? These symptoms belong to the liver. Let's go after them. Here's how we're going to get rid of them. That's what you're learning in the masterclass. That's what you're learning when you proactively go after repairing it. When I talk to people about this, they go, oh, why is there two parts to the training? Well, if the boat is sinking, right, and water's coming in, we have to plug the leak first. There's no point in trying to fix the rest of your body if all the damage is going to be reinforced every single day. Hopefully that makes sense. I mean, right, I'm speaking quickly and I'm giving you broad general kind of explanation of all of this, but stop and think. Like, if you're doing the wrong things every day and making yourself sick because you don't know that your habits are wrong, right? Your thinking is wrong. In the phase 1 material, there's 13 myths that I find that people get wrong over and over again, right? This is not, I didn't make this up last week. This is after 10 years of clinical practice and 20 years of study and teaching medicine. So understand, stop doing certain things and your body will get ready to recover. Then target your symptoms, exactly your symptoms. Nothing else. We're not treating everything. We're not trying to cure some textbook definition of IBS. We're fixing your exact presentation of IBS. That's completely different than anything you're going to get from your doctor, where everything is kind of broadly based to treat this conceptual idea of a disease. No, we're treating your exact experience of the disease. That's very, very different. That's what makes this system so much, in a sense, more logical, right? There's nothing abstract about what we're doing. We're actually going to target your organ imbalances that are giving, it's the organ imbalance that gives rise to the symptom. So we're going to fix the underlying imbalance and the symptom's going to go away on its own. Okay? And you do that by symptom-specific supplementation. There's some very, very inexpensive remedies. They're very hard to, you almost can't buy a bad one because they're so simple and they're very inexpensive. When I say inexpensive, I'm talking like $40 for a 6-month supply. Okay? I know there's people out there treating digestive disorders and selling supplements online, and I don't even sell these. I just recommend them to you because I know you can get benefit from them, and really what you're getting in this program is my knowledge and my experience of having gone through this and treated a lot of patients to help them get over it too. You don't need to spend a lot, right? There's supplements out there that are like $70 a bottle, and you're supposed to get like a bottle a week or every 2 weeks. It's like, that's several $1,000s a year. Are you sure you want to be doing that? Because you probably don't need to, right? I'm not saying there's not other good stuff out there, but a lot of it's just crap. And a lot of it's just, right, if I wanted to sell you a bunch of supplements, I could come up with a supplement and try to string people along and get a bunch of extra money out of them too, but you just don't need it. It's much easier to put your body together this way, and if you take your supplements on a symptom-specific basis, you're going to get way, way better results than just blindly, right, gulping down a bunch of different so-called natural remedies, right? Natural remedies can make you sick just as fast as anything else, especially if you don't know what you're doing, and especially if you think, oh, they're natural, so it must be safe, it must be better, it must be okay. Not true, not even close to true. Okay, so these 3 things, the form in which you prepare your food matters. It definitely matters. Number 2, the order in which you eat things, and then number 3, how do you supplement specific to your symptoms? How do you do that part and get it right so that you're not masking any symptom, you're fixing the underlying imbalance and the symptom goes away on its own. That's what we're doing here at the IBS protocol and in all of my teaching, right? For all of the various digestive ailments that people come to me with, that's what I'm teaching you in this. If you haven't gotten started on it, I hope you do. This is very, very important for your learning, for your health. I mean, this is something that can permanently heal your body. So why not give it a shot, right? If anything I've said here makes any kind of sense, you're like, wait a second, that's my experience. What he's talking about is what's happening to me. Well, good, because that's what I hear day after day, year after year while I'm teaching people this. So I hope you go for it. Thanks very much.